you know, because I would have moved already or something. So I try and keep relevant in my life with my uploads. You know, like I don't like to do upload something that I recorded a month ago, even though maybe I'm not even talking about something in my life as an experience. I mean, I might be just talking about some kind of idea, but I really find that the way that I'm developing and growing, whatever it is that I have further insights, I would say, and sometimes speak about something with more experience or depth and something or other, you know, like I'm sure, I mean, I don't listen to my talks from about a year ago, but I'm sure my depth has, you know, has gone deeper in a sense, and etc. Maybe I'm expressing myself a bit, you know, more efficiently or something or other, you know, and so I'm getting more to the heart of the matter. I'm giving better examples, talking more from the heart, being less insecure about what I'm saying, you know, in that energy, I don't know, development. And so sometimes I feel like even from a talk I did maybe 2 weeks ago, okay, I can feel like, I feel no, I could do this talk so much better, you know, and really get to what I'm wanting to say, if you know what I mean. And sometimes I struggle with that, because I'll listen to like a potential upload. The other day I was listening to one that I did in regards to relationships. I was thinking, I don't know if this is going to, you know, if I'm going to upload this one, because there's so much that I've experienced and further insights that have taken place since this recording, and I could probably do it a whole lot better. So you see, sometimes I struggle with it as well. Yeah. And so we'll see about this one. There's a theme for myself today and for the last few days, I suppose, and that's almost like this kind of ending in a way. Sorry folks, I'm going to make a side note. It's terrible that when you're walking past people on the streets and they don't wave and they ignore you, and you wave to them and they look directly forward, and these are people that are also going for walks or a run or a jog or something like that. And I'm sorry to say that it's mostly white people that don't wave back. Black people, a lot more friendlier. White people, I don't know. It's just what I find. I mean, I'm walking on the streets. Anyway, so it's been a theme for me the last few days, that there's this closing, I mean, not just with my move, okay, so I am moving out of the city that I was born and raised in, and I've been most of my life, this treachered, horrible city that I've loathed for years, okay. I really have. The ego of this city, the energy of this city, the ruthlessness of this city is just, I feel like it's been Shawshank Redemption for me, you know. Well, not Shawshank Redemption, but Shawshank Prison, in a way. And it's been remarkably challenging and difficult, as many of you folks have, or if you've been listening to me for some time, I've mentioned it. It's a place where I grew up. It's a place where I don't have fond memories of, you know, and it's just a wasteland. It's just a wasteland in a sense. But that's, anyway, that's for myself, you know, and that's also something that I ponder. It's like I've been in it for so long, like such a long time, you know. So it's almost like I have this bittered sweetness on many levels about relocating. It's almost like not even real. But I also feel like it's a closing of a chapter of a way of life that, you know, I'll be met with more of them in my life, and I think I'll potentially, and we will potentially, be met with it on a global level. I think it's happening now. you know, where the infrastructure or something, don't know how it's going to happen, is going to break down. It's going to fall, okay? Or the way that it used to be, you know, is going to change dramatically and never to change back again to what it used to be, okay? Even though it's changed already, we just can't see it as much. You know, with technology and whatever it is, overpopulation and the digital age and whatever it is, it's changed, and so much more than that. It's changed, but like, we continue almost as business as usual to a certain degree. I'm talking about where, you know, where it's going to change, where maybe there's, I don't know, I can do a whole nother talk on this, on the potential of what could possibly go down and happen, you know, and what could it be like, what could it, you know, the narrative is going to change on this planet like never before. Yes, it's been gradually changing, but what I'm saying, it's going to change in such a big way that we won't, for those of weak-mindedness and whatever it is, it's going to be very difficult for. I think for everybody it's going to be difficult. And you know what, that's the kind of feeling that a lot of us have. It's like, well, damn it must change already. I'm so sick and tired of it, you know. It's like, let it change, let it break down, okay? Let it fall apart, because, you know, let it die away or something or other, so that at least we can start off on something better, on a better footing, you know? Well, like, it's just become so infected, you know, and like, let's say it's like a patient that's just in so much pain, right? It cannot get better, right? Is so, not just pain, but in agony, and the body parts are, you know, slowly stopping and not functioning, and the patient is in agony. And the patient, you can see it's dire, it's terminal, you can see. And so you think, for the patient, at least for the suffering of the patient, you know, the patient should go gently into the night, you know, pass on, basically, you know. I mean, when you think about the amount of suffering on this planet, you know, and from a human to an animal to all different species, to a certain degree, it's intense and it's immense. And is it necessary? I mean, they say suffering is a part of life, but this is extreme. This is extreme. And I'm not saying there's no wrong or right here, folks. It's not saying it's wrong or right. It seems like it's part of nature. You know, it just seems like it's a part of nature. And on a much grander scale, we can't see it. And so you would think that, okay, so let the change come, whatever it needs to be, because whatever has to come, maybe it can be of better service and more truth and more beauty than what we currently have. And it will serve better for Gaia, the planet, the animals, and future generations. And it's something that we could actually feel excited about, okay? Something that we feel that we could work towards, you know, enabling and supporting a greater future, a greater world. Okay, because right now, majority of people know that it's game over, and so just drink and be merry, like pollute, you know, smash and grab, just party like there's no tomorrow. That's where we are at. Destroy, destruct, deplete, whatever it is, because when it's over, it's over. And I'm saying people are also morally, the immorality, the decay, the lack of trust, the lack of relationships. It's like, you know, how conniving you can be, how what's his name from Wolf of Wall Street? I mentioned him a few times. Jordan Belfort. What a scoundrel you can be. Rape and pillage. You know? Screw your next door neighbor out of whatever. Put a stumbling block in front of the blind man and watch him fall. You know, just for shits and giggles. Mess with the minds, the psychology of the youth, whether they don't know whether they are a female or a male. I mean, it gets hectic, folks. You know, pollute the waters and the skies. It gets heavy. You know, I think there's a poem by somebody called "If I Were the Devil." I'm sure if you just Google that, if you put on YouTube, "If I Were the Devil," there's a poem. Oh, it's very intense. It's like, what would the devil do? And it's almost like exactly what we see in the world today. But folks, like right now, I'm sorry I'm changing the subject, but even right now, like I'm walking on the street, okay, there's electric fences and high walls around me, but like I can see the sun setting here by a golf course on my right hand side. Yes, the noisy cars are driving past and whatever it is, but just the sunset. And I mentioned this before in a recording, which I don't know if I'll upload, but again, just to see, you know, that there's beauty, the subtle beauty that's all around. And sometimes it's not even subtle. Sometimes it's directly in your face. I mean, I'm looking at these gigantic trees now, you know, and just swaying in the wind, in the gentle wind, in the gentle breeze, and it's just, you know. And I also realize, and I'm just changing to, I realize how finite and infinite this moment is. You know, it's always changing, folks. And that's the thing. It's like it's always changing. And when I experience these trees again, I'll be a different person in a way, you know. And the trees would have changed just somewhat, and the light will be hitting in a different kind of direction. So it's, you never step in the same river twice. And one day I'll come here, maybe they would have cut down the trees, and all I'm going to see is the stumps, and there'll be a beauty and a pain in that. It's a bit strange, because a lot of the time where there's beauty there's pain, and where there's pain there's beauty. Nature is very much like that, very much like that. It's very hard to keep a balance. Well, anyway, so now I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I was talking about, you know, how it's like get rich or die trying time, and you know. And again, it's not just to the world, it's not just to other people, it's not just to the future generations. I'm saying in the world, I'm talking about nature, but I'm even talking to one's own body, right, and one's own psyche, right? To be destroying that, like almost that, I don't care, I don't see myself living, you know, for 80 years, for 90 years, and I don't see myself for the need to be healthy. There's no reason to have a healthy lifestyle or look after my body or my mind. Like, there is no reason to do so anymore, because the end is nigh. And not only that, but because, like I've spoken about this before, there's no meaning anymore. So there's no meaning in health, right? We don't also realize, I mean, obviously not just from the collective, you know, pulling in and sucking in of the, well, there's much to be said, but we don't realize that maybe yes, we have all these other factors that are influencing our nihilism and narcissism and, you know, that kind of life. There's a number of factors, but I also think a big factor is that in the back of people's minds, somewhere or another, they know that the game is over. I remember I was speaking to a guy once in he was walking in a warehouse somewhere, and the speakers in his earphones, like, it was so loud, and like I could hear it when I walked past him. I said to him, man, you're going to, he's a black dude, and he very possibly doesn't know that he's in, endangering, his hearing. I mean, I used to be like that. I didn't know that there was, I used to have full blast headphones on. I used to go to nightclubs and stand in front of the speakers, and I'd come in with my ears ringing, and I didn't know the dangers of high volumes. And I said to him, man, look, one day you're not going to, he was a youngster, so one day you're not going to hear your children crying at night because you're going to be deaf. I can't remember what I came with. He said, by then I'll be dead. He'll be dead. And, but I must say that a few weeks or months passed, and I saw him again, and like I just, sort of, nodded my head at him because he was listening to the earphones. He says, I put the volume down. So, but in a way, he's like saying, well, what's the difference, man? What's the difference? The ship's going down. Like, what's the difference? Type of thing. And so there is that idea, I think, and that's very novel in the times that we are in. I don't think any other generations before, globally at least, needed to from a psychological level what it felt like to be at the end of the world. I mean, yes, scripturally people have been thinking about the end of the world for a long time, but I don't think it was so it's such large evidence as it is today. Hope the wind's not interrupting. Anyway, so for myself, what does it mean on an emotional level? What does it mean to be alive at the end of the world? Really? And what does it mean to be alive in times in my life, with the people that I've, family members, and because I realize, I really do, that the more this continues, that the people in my life, the more they're becoming overwhelmed, and the more that they falling into distraction, the more, you know what I'm saying, the more that I've spoken about this before, their lives are becoming more chaotic, the less presence that they have, the less heartfulness that they have, because they're being indoctrinated by the world. Like this plague of narcissism, as Sam Vatkin explains in his talk, that it's spreading. And so, there's really in my life, family members that I've known, and friends and people I'm associated with, it's like, bye-bye, bye-bye. We're going our own separate ways here, in a sense. It's like, it's interesting. It's like the people die in your life before they actually physically die. And that's interesting because I've spoken about, the father symbolically dying, as Jung would say. But to really, in that way, where you understand that the language barrier between you and the other person in your life is getting further and further apart. I mean, larger and larger. The language of heart, the language of soul or spirit or human being, like for them, you realize, I remember, and I mentioned this a long time ago, a talk by Ian Lungold, I think his name was. He did a whole talk on the Mayan calendar, and he passed away. Very interesting talks. I'm sure you can still get them on YouTube. And he spoke about that. He said, say your goodbyes now. This was back in like 2004, I think. He said, say your goodbyes now to people in your life. He says, because when the time comes, they won't even understand what you're saying. Okay? It's a friendly dog. And so that's it. It's like, you know, you've already parted ways. It's you now you're just puffs of smoke in each other's peripheral vision. You ghost to one another in a way, you know. Type of thing. It's gone. And that's the thing, folks, we don't appreciate in this world how what it means to really grow apart. I'm trying to block the wind, mark from the wind. How what it means that we actually grow apart. It's not so easy said than done. Oh, you grow apart and whatever it is. It's intense. Yeah, it's really intense. And that's why you got to try and preserve your relationship and grow with each other, because you know you love each other in some way or another. I don't know, you've been through a lot with one another, and you don't have to grow apart if you're truly growing with, for yourself and one, I really think so. How joyous it can be to actually grow with one another. And I don't think you outgrow when you're on the path of truth, if you want to call it that. I think you really outgrow, because you have so much in common. You have so much to talk about. You have so much that's going on, that really connects you. But when your relationship is based on, I don't know, superficially based, most of your conversations revolve around the sports and the weather, and what you're going to wear to the party, and what you're going to buy them for their wedding present or whatever, those kind of conversations, then there's nothing there. There's nothing really real there. And if there's nothing real, then it's untrue, and it's almost not even alive. Most people's relationships today are absolutely dead. I would say dead wood. Anyways, folks, so for myself, it's been a lot of reflecting and saying my goodbyes in a way. And I feel that this is just in preparation for the future, in a way, of what's to come. Saying goodbye to, your story. What I'm saying is that, I don't know, maybe you'd be working in the family restaurant for a while, for many years. You've been a son to somebody, a mother to somebody else. You've had a role to play. You've been Aunt Sheila, you've been Uncle Fred, you've been the weirdo who lives at the end of the street in the dingy house, and you went to school and you studied this, and you got this much money in your bank, and this is the type of style of clothing that you like, and this is the type of food that you enjoy eating, and this is your choice of diet, whatever it may be. And what I'm saying, I think it's all going to change. It's all going to change. Your relationships, where you live, what you eat, what you do with your time, how you spend your day, where you come from, your past. I mean, that's how it can change. Is what I'm saying is that it's like now, maybe you still live in the same country that you were born in, right? Maybe the school that you went to is not too far, it's in a few states away from you or something like that. There's still reminiscences of your history, of your past. But what I'm saying is that I think that's all going to go. It's going to be you're going to be so unrecognizable. You're going to be so unrecognizable from our past. It's not going to make, you're not American anymore, and I'm not South African anymore, or a white male South Africa. at the age of 37, and my societal and cultural role, and the way that other people see me as, well, this is how much money I should have in my bank by now, and how many children I should have, and whatever it is. I mean, even for my brothers or parents, not to see me as the youngest child anymore. You know, there won't be that anymore. There won't be any of this. It's all going to change. You know, maybe it won't be, yeah, the infrastructures that we see now. Right? We won't see that the world will be functioning religiously in the way that with all the different religions that are going on. You know, you won't see it. It's going to, I'm saying, you won't see it, it'll change. Cars, work hours, what we do for a living, like I said, it's all going to change. It's all going to change. Weather, it's all going to change in a big way. And so the future is unknown, and the possibilities are endless. And so you have to have, well, to serve you well, to have your wits about you, you know, to have done a lot of your own work, so you don't get sort of washed away with the changing of the tides. Like, you'll be able to sort of still navigate yourself through the strong currents of change. You know? So that's very important that we've been that's what we're doing here a lot of the time. You know, it's what we're working towards. So I don't know, folks, it's almost like going a death rebirth in a big way, on a planetary level. Huge, absolutely gigantic. I don't even know the words for it. Astronomical. Like, it's huge. We don't even appreciate how big it is. It's impossible for us to understand where we are at right now in time. Absolutely unfathomable. It's like never before. Never before. And is it the end of human history? Like, what on earth does that mean? You know? End of human history. Are we not going to be humans anymore? What does that mean? You know? It's big. On a cosmic scale. Cosmic scale. So be prepared, you know, and again, I think it's not to be in fear, but to be in awe, and to be in amazement, and to be in beauty, and to be in appreciation for being in this time that we are in and where we are headed. You know, I suppose somehow you and I, we landed up here for a purpose. It wasn't just by chance. It wasn't just a roll of the dice. It was very much orchestrated. Sometimes I think, I mean, it's all hypothetical, like how hard I maybe had to beg and plead and bargain my way to try and get a seat in this stage in the game. You know? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to incarnate, if you will, or something. From that perspective, it's like, okay, you know, we have a slot here. This is, you know, in the astral realms or something. We have a slot here for an incarnation in, 1981 in July. Born to Jewish parents in the heart of South Africa. You know, end of the world, take one. Or something like that, you know, born to these parents, here are your coordinates, this is your situation, and it's going to be a hard run for a while. You know, you're going to be asleep for a while, and then eventually you know, you'll wake up, and whatever that means. And so, you know, and I said, okay, just mind the barking dogs. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'd like to think that I was maybe even chosen for the job, and said, okay, look, my name wasn't Aaron then, you know, and said, okay, you, I don't know, you look like you can be fit for the job, because we need some guy who likes to talk a hell of a lot, and there's so much to say, right, and whatever it is, and so we need someone like that, and we need to put you in the heart of South Africa, right, energetically or whatever it is, and you know, your calling is going to be that you're going to be some random dude on YouTube, online, but then also in your life as well, in your surroundings. Like, this is who you're going to be, you know, this is not who you're going to be, this is your destiny in a way, and you fit for the job. You know, we've seen you on what you've done on other incarnations and other lives. I mean, it's far out, folks. And so, you know, you seem fit for the job. You know, we're going to cast you in this play, and the director, so we're going to cast you in this play. We need a guy like you. And for you listening, the universe chose you as well, and you chose your place in some weird, far out way. Yeah. Really, to be alive is so bizarre, folks. It really is bizarre. It's just, it's amazing how unbizarre it is for everybody else that I come across. I like, you know, how sort of average, standardized, things seem to other people, and how non-random or peculiar things are. It just amazes me. You know, how somebody can convince themselves to such a degree that their identity is all that they are, and they you know what I mean? And they think that they really got to be somebody in this world, but from a materialistic point of view, a superficial point of view, like, they've got to get power in this world. They got to get people to like them and things like that, like the most petty of things. It's like, it's just so hard to come by, that people can use their life energy, chase things down, you know, just so they can get a fancier car, or a more expensive pair of sunglasses, or a fancier phone. I mean, it's just, that for myself is also just so incredibly far out, so incredibly far out. I just don't understand it. It's like, your sweat, blood, you know, your blood, sweat and tears to make that money, and you'll allow yourself to be so confused and influenced to such a large degree, and I'm like, I scratch my head about it. I just really am. It's just like how disillusioned you can actually be, how asleep one can be, you know, and that's their choice. That's their choice. Come here to do that, perhaps. I'd like to think it's a choice. But anyways, folks, I don't know how long I've been speaking for, but I know it's been some time, and I could really just continue as long as I'm walking here for, but I'll spare you the long-winded insights of mine, and whatever it is. I mean, I'd like to think what I am saying is somewhat beneficial to others. I'm sure very few of you have made it this far, and of course I do appreciate that, but I do think that by my talks there is something for others to really benefit from. I really like to think so. And I also like to think that my calling for making these videos is that I really talk about my own personal experience. So I'll talk about things on a psychological or conscious level, but I'll talk about them from in my own way, like what's going on in my own life, my relationships with people, etc. I won't just talk about them as ideas, as something out there, you know. Or like if I talk about the Truman Show, I'll talk about the Truman Show in my life. Okay. I'll talk about my own insecurities, not just insecurities in general, or whatever it is. And I think that's my little, you know, niche, or whatever it is. That's my thing that I do, and that's what makes it hopefully quite unique and, you know, and special in a way, or at least special to me, and I hope special to some of my viewers, you know, even though I don't get that many, which sometimes I do think about. I do think about that, like, because I really think I'm talking about interesting things, you know. I mean, I know there's so many other brilliant people on YouTube that you can be listening to, that, you know, wants to really listen to me in a way, but I think in my own way I got something special, and so for certain few, they can relate and connect to it, and you know, hopefully learn something, and or whatever it is, and enjoy our time together. So I'd like to think that, you know, but for others, I don't know. I mean, because I think, yeah, I do put something into my talks, but my viewership always seems to stay the same. Probably an average of 120 views per video. And which is fine and whatnot, but sometimes I think I'm talking on a higher quality. Not, you know, for myself. Maybe I'm disillusioned, but I think, you know, I'm speaking from sometimes more of a, not in comparison to others, but I feel that I'm a lot more personal. Maybe that scares people away, I guess. I don't know. Alright folks, I think I'll end off on that for now. And if you made it this far, and I'm not just talking to myself, I appreciate it. And you will be hearing again from me soon. Blessings and take care.